Welcome to Closing the Distance. So glad you're with us today. My favorite episode of the season. We're going to share with you 3 awesome bow hunts, all on some huge whitetails, some great tips, some real good information. And at the end of the show, Brother Mark, he's back with us again. He's going to share with us how not to be frustrated in life. Awesome show. Let's get started.
Closing the Distance is brought to you by Matthews Solo Cam. Catch us if you can. Ozonics, scent control that works. Hunter Safety System, dedicated to saving hunters' lives. Executioner Broadheads, born to kill. And by Citadel, revolutionary shoot-down shape. Coming up, we'll join the staff on 3 awesome bow hunts in Kansas. Huge bucks are on the way. Closing the Distance will be right back. Closing the Distance is made possible by Carbon Express Arrows. Shoot better. Shoot Carbon Express. Christian Bow Hunters of America, exalting Christ as Creator, Savior, and Lord. Nikon, the trusted name in optics. Sword Sights, sharp solutions in aiming. Elusive Wildlife Technologies, taking the elusive out of wildlife. And by the amazing Luminot. Can your arrow knock do this?
Well, it's early October. Everything is green. It's, the old hunting adrenaline hadn't really kicked in yet. We decided to run up to the lease and kind of prepare for season, set up some ground blinds and get ready for the season. I have a close neighbor here, Robert Sides, that he and I coached against each other. We've been friends for a long time. He said he'd like to go along, and we had a brand new camera, and well, maybe we'll sit in a stand a couple of times and see if we can see some deer and let him kind of learn how to use the camera. Well, we get up there and we get most of our work done, and we said, well, we'll go try a sit. And we had some pretty good shooter bucks showing up, and lo and behold, well, you know what happens. This buck came in. It was a buck that we had on our hit list at 11-inch drop tine, and Coach Sides, it was a new camera, and we had a rookie cameraman and a new camera and a new blind, and usually everything that can go wrong does go wrong, but we managed to get the job done on that buck. And I had watched, make sure he got the camera on and we was on record and everything was going. And the buck was in and out a couple of times and finally walked in, and he was slightly quartering to me, but the buck was real nervous because we were in a fresh blind. It had just been put up the day before. But we managed to get a good shot on him and take that buck.
We're sitting here talking. We hadn't seen a deer and just wondering what's going on here. And the buck we've been looking for, we had pictures of him. We nicknamed him Kickstand. You get a kicker comes down the side of his head. Good deer, I just look up and there he is. I don't know where he came from. And I got a pretty good shot on him. Looks like maybe it's a little bit back, but I think it'll do the job. You just never know, you know. We sat here this morning and did not see a deer. Didn't see nothing. And then all of a sudden, he's here. And he's a good mature deer. He's He's a 6-7-year-old deer, mainframe 8 with a big old kicker type drop tine on him. A deer with character like that, and just can't afford not to shoot him. Well, here's our buck we shot this afternoon. We shot him about 6:30 when he came in, and I hit him a little bit high, but felt like the shot was good. Looked at it, replayed it, and looked at it. And he's a buck that we've been seeing on our trail cameras. It's got this beautiful kicker down here, or drop tine, or whatever you want to call it. I called him kickstand because it looks like the kickstand off a bicycle. And actually, he's got another one that comes around behind his head there. But he's a beautiful deer. Saw this deer last year. Tried to get my grandson getting the shot, but we just had a hard time, and it was a still afternoon, and he got away. But Pawpaw got a shot at him this year. I had a good friend of mine running the camera today, Robert Sides. He and I hunted together and fished together, and now we killed a big buck together.
This buck was a mainframe 8, had good mass, long G2s. We saw the buck the last 2 years. We're thinking, you know, he's just going to be a real good 8-point one day. Last year he broke off one of his G2s early in the season. And so, you know, he was just another buck with a broke antler last year. They had a lot of rain in the spring. He really blew up. He put on 11-inch drop tine. So it just goes to show you folks, sometimes a deer that you don't think is going to be a target deer may turn out to be something you want to shoot.
After the break, Chad Reeves has a hunt of a lifetime. Closing the Distance will be right back. Closing the Distance is proudly supported by Whitetails Unlimited, working for an American tradition. Real World Wildlife Seed, dare to compare. And by Fish and Still Equipment, your East Texas John Deere dealer.
Folks, I just wanted to show you our setup here that we're going to hunt. What we got here is we've got a feeder out here, and we've got a really good pictures of a really good buck. I think he's probably going to be 170s or so. We got it set up, put it under them cedars and brushed it in. You can tell we've had it set up for about a month. We hope the deer are used to it, but we shoot the executioner broadhead, so we like to shoot with the windows open. I prefer that anyway, but we got a window open for the camera, and we got a window open for the shooter over there. But we think it's going to be a really good setup.
Well, this is a really exciting hunt with Chad. I was on the camera. We're hunting a specific buck here, a buck that we had named the Inside Buck. Saw the buck last year. Actually, one of our guys missed this buck last year, and last year he had a tine growing to the inside off his left main beam about 6 inches long, but this year, instead of having the inside point, he had a drop tine and had really put on some inches. The buck came in, Chad reached over and touched me and said, "That's him." And he came in, he worked scrapes. He did everything you want a deer to do to watch and film. He was actually very close to us. He was about 18 yards from us. I'm filming, I'm watching my shooter out of the corner of my eye thinking, you know, he's gonna shoot here, he's gonna shoot here. And when he didn't, I realized finally that the angle he had from the ground blind we were in, he couldn't shoot. He had to wait till that deer got back kind of to my right. And it seemed like it took forever. But the buck was very calm and very relaxed, so I was confident that we were gonna hammer this buck. I mean, it was just a perfect setup. Chad released the arrow. All I saw was a puff of white hair. Oh no, my heart sank. The buck jumped, ran over to the corner of the cedar trees, and I'm saying, get another arrow, get another arrow. We're gonna let him get away. We're not gonna get this buck. The buck started walking. He walked about 30 yards out on the side of a hill and turned and looked back because he really didn't know what had happened. Chad released. I saw the fletching berry up in the ribs. The angle was good. I knew we had him.
Yeah. Yeah. You hammered him that time. Did you get any footage? Did you get
You
any
milked it, boy.
Holy cow. I shot too quick. I shot too quick the first time. I thought I had my pin up on him. And I hit low. I think I nicked him on the bottom. And he ran after a stop. I reached and got me another arrow. And he was at 30. I put my 30-yard pin right on him. And I hammered it a little bit back, but we're gonna give him plenty of time. That deer, we've got history with that deer. Chub and I first saw him, I think it's 2 years ago. We called him the inside buck. He was a Big 10 with an inside point. Last year, he was the same thing, just blown up. We had another one of our guys that hunted down here and actually clipped him across the bottom. Didn't get a shot. And this year he's got a drop tine, and I think that shot's good. I think that's gonna be a killing shot. It looked like a pretty good bit of air going in him. So, what a deer! He's done got a little bit stiff. We waited a pretty good time. Golly, look at that drop. Yeah, it's on up in the day. It's probably close to 11 o'clock. Man, we shot that deer this morning, 7:20. The shot was actually better. The second shot, anyway, was actually better than I thought. Looks like that's probably where it came out. Jugged that air through. But the first shot, he's probably got some sort of, yep, he's got a skint place right there where I just shaved him. Tried to rush my shot. The second shot got him. He probably went 150 yards. Golly, we got a lot of history with this deer. We think he's probably either 5 or 6. The first year we saw him, we thought he was probably a 3-year-old. We called him the inside buck because he had an inside point. And then last year he blew up even more and he still had the inside point. And then this year he don't have it, but look what he put on. I'd rather have that anyway. That's awesome. Man, he's got a bunch of stuff on the front. Kicker off the back there. That's a pretty deer.
When we return, Amy Reeves has a giant buck to walk in. Another awesome bow hunt is on the way. We'll be right back.
You see him to the left. Is he coming in? Where's he at?
Is it? Tore my lemon off and my fletching off my arrow.
What happened?
Well, this really giant deer, like about a 180 class deer that we got a glimpse of a couple of days ago. Weren't sure if we'd ever see him again, but he came in pretty as a picture. Ran a couple of does off from under the feeder. Walked over a little ways, not towards the feeder, but away from the feeder. But from my stand, I had a shot from where he was standing, and I thought I had a clear shot, but I'm thinking we hit a limb or a bush or something. And when the arrow hit the deer, it was almost like it hit him in the horn. Couldn't really tell. And footage, here's my lemon oak over here. There's the lemon oak. I think it did. I think it hit him in the horns. From where I was sitting, that's what it looked like. So, whew, I just missed the deer of a lifetime.
That hunt took place 3 seasons ago, and the reason why we hadn't shared it with you yet is because we wanted to tell you the end of the story. But all the members on the lease, nobody saw that buck after Amy missed him. No trail cam pictures, no sightings, and finally this past season, he showed back up. He had to be at least a 10-year-old deer. He was still in the 170s. He went downhill a lot, but it just goes to show you, trail cameras and don't get all the deer, and just seeing, you can't see all the deer. Sometimes I don't even understand it, how far a deer will travel and then maybe come back into their home area, their home turf. Or this area might not even be in this deer's home area. He might have just came in here during the rut. Who knows? That's why we whitetail hunt. Such a gorgeous deer. Congratulations to Doug Baker for finally getting him. Let's check in with Brother Mark.
A few years ago, I was headed to a hunt on the Midwest, and like a week before I was supposed to go, my bow started just shooting crazy. I mean, crazy. And I about lost my mind. I started tinkering with everything. I was tinkering with my sights. I was messing with my peep. I was messing with my poundage. I couldn't get this thing to shoot 2 times in the same place at all. And what we found out at the pro shop was that my string had actually snapped underneath the serving, and the only thing that was holding my string together was the serving. And when we replaced it with a new string, it was like brand new, clean and fast and accurate. You know, I see a lot of people in life that are not getting the performance that they wanted, and they get so frustrated. You know what they do? They start tinkering with everything. They go, well, the reason that I'm not experiencing this is because I need a better job. And so they get a new job, or they get a new relationship, or they buy a new house, or they get a new car, and they're trying to figure out why they're not fulfilled in life and why these things aren't performing the way that they really want them to. And I'm going to save you a lot of frustration. I'm going to save you a lot of time right now. Here's what's missing in your life: a personal relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ. We can try to tinker around with all of those things, but until we really connect with God on a heart level and an intimate level, we will never be able to fully satisfy that thing in our heart that we're really longing for. So if you'd like to know more about a personal relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ, just go to closingthedistance.com and click on the Moment of Truth tab.